Honorable members, it is my pleasure and privilege to welcome you to the second session of the Senate. It has indeed been a working recess with numerous activities running and a number of special sittings convened pursuant to Standing Order 33. I, however, trust that you have had a time to rest and reconnect with your families and constituents over the Christmas and New Year festivities. I take this early opportunity to thank each one of you individually and collectively for the commitment, enthusiasm, and the solid foundation that we established during the first session as part of the legacy of the Fourth Senate. I saw a resolute Senate that worked as one to execute its constitutional mandate. I commend you all and look forward to this commitment throughout the second session and the sessions to come. Honorable Senators, as we commence the second session, and as it has been the tradition at the commencement of the session, we are called upon by our constituents to play one of the fundamental roles of legislator, budget making, and as part of the budget framework and calendar, we will shortly receive and consider the budget policy statement, the division of revenue bill, the county allocation of revenue bill, and the county government's additional allocation bill, and the cash disbursement schedule. Honorable Senators, you may walk in. As we receive and consider these physical documents, we must be cognizant of the challenges facing Kenyans, one of which is the high cost of living. Another challenge that we are facing and has dragged on from around August 2022 is drought and famine, among others. It will be irresponsible of the Senate not to take action. As national leaders and servants of the people, we must facilitate dialogue an institution of physical policy measures that address these challenges by channeling the resources that we have where they are most effective for efficient government services. Additionally, we have a duty to oversight the budget process and ensure that there is prudent public finance management, as the budget is critical in delivering the promises of devolution as housed in the Constitution of Kenya. Therefore, we must be vigilant to scrutinize the budget of the last financial year to determine the impact of resources allocated to service delivery and realization of the various devolved functions, and to scrutinize the current policy programs outlined in the budget policy statement that will be presented to this Senate. This will ensure that these are aligned to the devolved governance structure, economic development and recovery, and principles of inclusion, equity, and equality. I urge all honorable senators to be available to consider the aforesaid budget documents in order to approve this particular business within the required timelines for our counties to receive the necessary funding for critical projects and programs. Honorable senators, you may walk in. Honorable Senators, in the second session, we look forward to reporting by various select committees of the Senate on the activities and business referred to them for consideration. During the first session, 12 bills were published. Out of these, the County Government's Additional Allocations Bill, Senate Bills Number 4 of 2022, was considered by both houses of Parliament and enacted into law. 3 bills have gone through the concurrence process contemplated under Article 110(3) of the Constitution and are now ready for the first reading. 4 other bills have since matured for second reading. The Senate Business Committee will schedule these bills in the order paper in the coming days. Another 4 bills are undergoing the concurrence process and will be scheduled in the order paper by the Senate Business Committee upon completion of this process. Other business transacted in the first session includes 2 petitions presented and referred to the relevant standing committees, as well as 40 motions, of which 36 were adopted. In addition, 115 statements on diverse issues were canvassed, of which 20 were issued under Standing Order 52-1, 89 pursuant to Standing Order 53-1, 4 under Standing Order 56-1A, and 2 statements under Standing Order 58. At the opportune time, Senators, the Senate Business Committee will publish a reporting schedule by select committees as required under Standing Order 56-1B for committee chairpersons to appraise the House on the above business and other activities relating to committees. Honorable Senators, I'm particularly excited and looking forward to this session, as this is when we will experience application of the knowledge and skills that we have been equipped with during the elaborate induction programs that have been carried out. The inductions began at the House level and are cascaded to each select committee. I take this opportunity to thank the Secretariat for the rich and tremendous programs that have been mounted for us. Our only response following the induction event is to get down to business. A good place to start would be from the resolutions arrived at during the induction program, and which were assigned to the relevant dockets for action. Allow me to use this platform to urge all those to whom the resolutions were directed to, including the Office of the Speaker, the Senate leadership, the Senate Business Committee, the Liaison Committee, and various select committees, to critically scrutinize them and institute measures for their implementation. It is only by so doing that we shall address the identified challenges and gaps and ultimately emerge stronger as a constitutional body. Honorable Senators, you may walk in. Honorable Senators, aside from plenary and committee business, and in keeping with its mandate of protecting the devolution and interests of counties and their governments, the Senate will participate in 2 major events in our annual calendar of events, namely the Devolution Conference and the Legislative Summit. These 2 events afford us not only a platform for the Senate to be heard, but also to interact with other key players in devolution, celebrate the gains and successes accomplished, reflect on the challenges encountered, and come up with concrete plans of action on the way forward. These events must not be talking shops, but an opportunity for the Senate to influence and change government policy as regards devolution. Our participation must translate to policy and legislative interventions. I look forward to this as preparations for these events begin. Honorable Senators, you may walk in, Honorable Senators. Honorable Senators, as I conclude, I challenge this August House to move our discussions and considerations to issues beyond borders. We have a responsibility, through the ambit of parliamentary diplomacy, to discuss matters of global concern that are emerging in other parts of the world. For instance, I welcome the relevant committees to engage in the discourse on matters such as peace and conflict resolution in the African continent, economic recovery, growth, and how, as a country, we can leverage on the existing frameworks on trade and movement of goods across the continent, equipping a labor force for the future of work, strengthening Africa's food systems, African cities, and realizing the new urban agenda, amongst others. It will be interesting to bring out perspectives on how issues facing parts of the world entwine and impact us as a country. Finally, honorable senators, I impress upon each of us to rededicate ourselves to the execution of our constitutional mandate and to undertake the task ahead of us with utmost integrity and service to our great country as we strive to mold the legacy of the Fourth Senate. I thank you and wish all of us a fruitful session.